All right, counterpunch boxing. All right, guys. Okay, today, man, I've had a lot of people out there asking me if I would make a video about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Very hesitant to make the video, only because I don't want to feed into the whole, the propaganda, the act, the hype, the whatever, the fight hype. But it looks like, it might be a possibility now. The only way I would ever report on a fight like that is if I thought it might be a real possibility. And I'll give you the quick details. And like I said, a lot of guys out there, they're hitting me up and they're wanting to know like what is going on, because like it's kind of making its way around the boxing world, the boxing news, and people are really talking about it, like it could potentially happen. Okay. So I'll give you the brief rundown what I know, and I'm no UFC expert, but I know my boxing. Okay, UFC 200, I believe. Yeah, 200. Right after Conor McGregor lost to Nate Diaz, is kind of when all the boxing talk started. I think Conor McGregor and Dana White and the UFC, I think they were kind of in turmoil with each other, and then Conor McGregor started talking about kind of going over to boxing, like crossing over to boxing. Now, I think he may have used it as like leverage, like either kind of like give me what I want or I'm leaving, kind of thing. Maybe like a kid throwing a temper tantrum, like I'm gonna run away, like a kid running away from home, like, oh, either give me what I want or I'll go over there and get what I want. But if he thinks he's gonna come to boxing and rake in millions of dollars, he's out of his damn mind. Boxing is a is a tough business, he's better off right where he is. But okay, so it all started around that time, and then moving on to UFC 205 when he fought Eddie Alvarez. Okay, beat Eddie Alvarez. What was it, like second round knockout? I think it was quick. Or maybe I'm sorry, maybe UFC 200 was when the rematch. See, I don't even know my UFC. McGregor lost to Nate Diaz, and then in the rematch he won. So but whatever. I don't even care about that. But right around that time, right around the Nate Diaz fight and rematch, is when he started talking about coming to boxing. That's my whole point. I'm trying to get at. Okay. And then again, right after 205, and remember, he didn't make his press obligations, and then Dana White threatened to kick him out of, it was either 200 or 205, again, not quite sure. But it just seems like anytime there's any kind of conflict between Conor McGregor and Dana White or the UFC, he starts talking about, oh, I'm going to run away and I'm going to go to boxing. Floyd Mayweather will pay me. Like, it's just like, it's almost like when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, I'm going to go, run away to my friend's house and their mom and dad, they're going to take care of me. That's kind of like what I get out of it. But, but then on a serious note, that's what I thought before. And now I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe the guy is serious. Maybe he might be, really wanting to come over to boxing. Now we know, or at least you guys may not have heard, he did get his boxing license out of California. So now, he's a licensed boxer. He can compete. He's a licensed professional boxer through the state of California. And what does that mean? Well, that means he can compete, as a professional fighter. Okay, so, and you have all these guys calling him out now. We got Floyd Mayweather calling him out, Paulie Malignaggi, Shane Mosley, a couple other guys. I even heard Canelo Alvarez, said a few things about him. And we saw the McGregor sparring footage that came out, and my God, McGregor looked terrible. He looked like someone that's never put on gloves in his life. He was getting hit with everything in that footage and just looked awful. But okay, so like I said, I think it is a real possibility. The latest news: Dana White had dinner with a Mayweather insider. That Mayweather insider said yes. Mayweather is serious about it. It's not an act. It's not a show. He would definitely, take the fight if the money was right. And that's what it would be. I mean, you got to look at the fight like an exhibition match, like like a side act, like a Vegas side act, that's what it reminds me of, it's almost kind of fake, I don't know. And I think it'd be really boring. I think we'd have Mayweather in there, jab, grab, and hold pretty much like the whole fight. I can already tell you what's going to happen. But now Conor McGregor, he might get aggressive and, just go on full attack, probably gas out because we know, I mean, God, look, another thing, if you look at, what was it, Nate Diaz in the second fight, I mean, 9 minutes into the fight, Conor McGregor was completely gassed. I mean, so, boxing is about, stamina and, making it all 12 rounds if you need to and not gassing out. I mean, those guys in the UFC, they go in there and they throw out everything they have in 2 and 3 minutes and, 2 or 3 rounds and they're done. I mean, they're completely depleted. So realistically, if he, was really to get into boxing, he would have to get a strength and conditioning coach. He'd have to condition his body for, 12 3-minute rounds. None of this, 8, 9, 10, 12 minutes of fight, 10 minutes. I mean, his average fight is like 3.5 minutes. If you look up his average, like over his last, I don't know, like handful of fights, like 6, 7 fights. I mean, it's like 10, or it's like 3.5 minutes is like his average. I mean, that's a round. Because, I mean, he's knocking guys out in round 1 and round 2, so, I mean, he's not in there, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, or like boxing, where you can get in there over 30 minutes into the 12th round. So really, when you really break it down realistically and think about it, and then, like I said, who would he fight? I mean, I wouldn't want to see Conor McGregor come over to boxing and, get a title fight when other guys deserve it over him. That would really piss me off. If he came over here and because he's a star, this big, Hollywood guy, what the hell ever, then he gets a shot like over a boxer. Like that would really bother me and a lot of boxing fans too. So, I think he should work his way through the ranks like any other fighter. If he wants to come to boxing, okay, build up your record, get in the ranks, work your way through the ranks and then get a fight. Now, nothing is saying that he has to. You can be a guy like Mayweather or a Polly or, and I even thought about maybe like a Chris Algieri, Humberto Soto, or, maybe Soto Carras, one of those guys. I mean, you could take the fight. You could fight your next door neighbor as long as they're licensed and then they pass all the requirements. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from fighting a guy like that, so the fight is a possibility. Mayweather insiders, they say, yeah, Mayweather wants it, Now, here's the thing. If I told you the fight was on in an hour from now, here's a link, you'd watch it, right? I mean, I know you would. I'd watch it. Of course you would. I'd watch it. You would watch it. We all would watch it. But, I mean, do I want it? No. Am I looking forward to it? Hell no, and if he did come to boxing, I wouldn't want to see a Mayweather fight. I mean, I want Mayweather to remain retired, go away, go play in the Bahamas, go blow all your money, do what you do, beat up on women, whatever, but I don't want to see Mayweather back in the ring. I mean, I just don't. I mean, God, it was painful enough. I mean, especially over the last like 2 or 3 years watching Mayweather fight. I mean, it literally will put me to sleep. I mean, I think the only Mayweather fight that I kind of like over the past 5 years, well, 2, probably the first Marcos Maidana fight and the Canelo Alvarez fight, because I think the Canelo Alvarez fight, he was a little more offensive and it was kind of a little bit more entertaining to watch, and I don't hear people say, oh, you don't know shit, it's the sweet science and blah. No, it's running, hugging, it's boring. The guy is fighting the right guy at the right time, the right day, the right gloves, the right judges, the right everything, I would have liked to have seen Mayweather fight someone in their prime. I mean, you think about it. I think maybe one guy. Like, who did he fight when they were in their prime? I mean, if you go down the list, I mean, I can't think of anyone. Not like a Manny Pacquiao, where he's fighting Juan Manuel Marquez, Timothy Bradley, Antonio Barrera. what's his name? Mosley, okay, people like that, Eric Morales, even go all the way back to Ledwaba, when Manny Pacquiao made his debut on HBO, fighting Ledwaba in his prime, a little kid from the Philippines came over and beat this guy on HBO in his prime, and not only did he fight guys in their prime like Cotto, look at Margarito. Now, probably not Oscar De La Hoya. He definitely wasn't in his prime, but he's a lot bigger. So, but he fought him multiple times. I mean, you look at, like I said, look at Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, fought him 4 times. Timothy Bradley 3. Eric Morales and Antonio Barrera multiple times. So it's something Mayweather has never done, and that's why I'm comparing the two just briefly. Something he's never done. And so, actually, maybe Mayweather could be considered a gatekeeper now that I think about it. Now that's an interesting thought right there. You know what I mean? If you think about, I just said, okay, if Mayweather came over, I'd want a Humberto Soto or a Soto Karass or a Chris Algieri, a gatekeeper. Well, maybe Mayweather is the new gatekeeper. Now in his mind, he's GOAT, greatest of all time, TBE, right? But in my mind, and in most of the people out there in your mind, Mayweather's a glorified gatekeeper. So, that finds a way to win, whether it's clinching, 70 times in a fight, or whether it's cheating, or whether it's like dancing and running and hugging and outpointing, whatever it is. Like Mayweather has mastered the way of finding the way to win, and it's not necessarily the hit and don't get hit. I mean, I know that is, boxing, but it's really hit, don't get hit, and hit back again. It's kind of hit and don't get hit. But then there's another part, and hit back again. It's like hit and you don't get hit and then you grab and you hold. No, you have to let your hands go. And I could go on and on and on about Mayweather. I mean, I really could. I bet I can break down his career better than most people out there, going all the way back to Pretty Boy Floyd. I mean, I could break his every fight, give you details about every fight. So people that want to debate Mayweather with me, you better come with your facts, because I know my shit when it comes to Mayweather. So I'm getting a little bit off trail, or I'm getting a little bit off subject here. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Do you want to see it? If not, would you like to see, what McGregor can do in a boxing ring? I kind of do. Like I said, there was some leaked sparring footage out there, and Conor McGregor looked like hell. I mean, it reminded me of like Mike Alvarado before the Brandon Rios fight, when Mike Alvarado, he was in there doing his sparring, and I mean, he looked like crap. When I saw Conor McGregor, and I forget who he was fighting. It's a foreign guy, but anyway, the guy was just teeing off on him, man. I mean, landing one after another, landing just a little jab, land, hook, land, uppercut, land, and McGregor is trying to, load up that left hand. He's southpaw, load up that left hand and land that big shot, and you can't do that to a boxer. I mean, there is a separation in skill when it comes, to boxing and UFC. There's a huge separation in skill, and that's something Mayweather or McGregor is going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn. You can't come into a boxing ring, and expect to win a fight with 2 or 3 hard shots. In the UFC, you can put on these gloves here and you can win a fight with 1 punch. I mean, yeah, you can in boxing too, but typically that's not how it's done. So, boxing's a whole new world. I don't know how he would fare. But I do give him credit. He's a great fighter, a fighter. And I don't know about a boxer, but I think he could be a decent boxer over time. He's young. You have to remember Conor McGregor is young. He's in his late 20s. I mean, he could develop into a pretty good fighter. I mean, we've had other guys that have come over to boxing and they've developed, fairly quickly. So, it could happen. But anyway, yeah, I'd really like to know what you guys think. Leave your comment below in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Counterpunch Boxing. We are out.